Well, hello. Welcome back. Good evening. What do we do? What do we do with our lives? Bitcoin has crashed to 59,809 in the big year 2026. What are we doing? What is even going on? The low that I predicted, 66,000, 65,000, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, seems like it barely sustained. I still decided to buy there, like I just made a purchase of 66,870. You'll notice I don't have any money left because I went all in at that price because I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Realistically though, like that was actually the lowest I would have ever expected Bitcoin. We broke down with a lot more force, strength, heaviness, I don't know what to call it. And ultimately, we just wicked all the way down to 59,809. So that's it's a little bit excessive now, don't you think? Look where the super trend is. It's at 77,000. Even that is way too low in my opinion. And it feels like I don't want to call it now because I've been calling for a bounce every day, but it just keeps going lower. There's no salvation. Can you even tell me a great reason why we're crashing? I have some hypotheses, but it's really not like a conclusive, this is why we are crashing. There's no real reason other than, I guess, deserved flush of a lot of liquidations. Don't worry, you're not alone. And or maybe this is all just part of the big cycle that we've always been a part of. But what cycle though? Because at this point, we've broken so many different things with the cycle that it just doesn't even feel like we are in one. It feels like we're just in uncharted territory where we're mapping out a new cycle for the future. Because a lot of stuff has changed in terms of crypto acceptance, regulation, the amount of people that are using it. Well, obviously retail interest is at all-time lows. I assume so. Otherwise, we would not be where we are. But then, I mean, you made all-time high before halving. That was separate. That was new. We had ETFs in the game now, institutional investors in here. What good did they bring? We had a bit of a glimpse of the power of institutional investors' pressure toward the downside when it came to Grayscale and their sell-off that they initially had. Remember that? When Bitcoin ETFs came out? Right now, Bitcoin ETFs have record high trading volume. But the volume is not favorable. It's not toward the upside. It's toward the downside. People are selling off, and we don't like to see that. I'll have a look at the ETF inflows and outflows. That's not what I wanted. Come on. Flashbang warning, by the way. Oh, never mind. I blacked out the page. How smart of me. Yesterday, 500 million in outflows. Previous days have been, something similar. Even BlackRock, our only hope, is now dumping on us. So this was bound to happen eventually. We did know that these guys were not going to just inflow infinitely, because then we'd be going up infinitely. They're going to control a big amount of the supply, and eventually they're just going to do this, a sell-off basically every day. For whatever reason, February 2nd was the only inflow day that we had. What even happened on February 2nd? This excuse of a rise where we barely even approached 80,000 before continuing to dump. Overall, it's been more of a get out of here. It's been more of a dump from ETFs. So they help us, but sometimes like it only goes to a certain point. So there's that. There's talks about a recession, bad economic data, hawkish Fed chair. People don't believe Kevin Warsh is going to cut rates. I think you're being too harsh on the guy. Give the man a chance. He's going to cut rates. He's not even in power yet. We haven't even gone through the other two remaining FOMC meetings when it comes to, I guess, monetary policy, the interest rate decisions, whatever the case is. But this is what I've explained. It's that we react based off of what we think is going to happen in the future, because why react to something that is in the past or something that is currently in development? No, you want to get ahead of the news, and that is what traders do. So we're getting ahead of the fact that we believe that there will be a war in Iran. We're getting ahead of the fact that we believe that Kevin Warsh is going to be extra hawkish. We're not going to get any rate cuts. I don't know what these guys are expecting, but they're in the wrong, I'm going to tell you that. When we get into a deal with Iran, hopefully, and we don't have to go to war, I think we still might, honestly. But a majority of the damage and sell-off has already been priced in at this point. That's the beauty of it, is that if an event like that does happen, yes, it will hurt, but a majority of it is priced in. We don't want another October 10 type event, right? I mean, what do you prefer? This painful 4-month sell-off, or just a 1 day, not even 1 day, like a 10-minute quick one and done, everything gets flushed out, liquidated, and then you're back to regular prices? Pick your poison, right? So anyways, why here? 60,000, I guess. Sure, if you take out the $200 bleeding extra of the 59,800, 60,000 seems to be where we've essentially slowed down at. Look how close I am to liquidating. That's just insane. I'm on 3x leverage. This is not right for Bitcoin or crypto. And I agree with, yeah, Greg, crypto today was ugly. But I'm honestly going to believe, I should stop believing this. Every time I'm saying, yeah, it seems like bottom is in, 70,000, important level. Nope, now it's 66,000. Never been lower. The reason I've been predicting 66,000 was because of presidential election cycles. I've talked about it before. Bitcoin's price has not gone lower than a 2024 presidential election after a bull run, right? Whenever we enter a bear market, lowest case, we have never gone below whatever date election happened, the price of Bitcoin was at that time. In this case, Donald Trump gets elected, Bitcoin's was at 66,000 in 2024. We've risen to such a high point. Arguably, things would have been worse under Kamala Harris, so it seems like we were doomed either way. I asked Grok yesterday, where would we be if Kamala Harris is currently in power? We would have been at 50,000. All-time high, 80,000. Not pretty. So, whether you like it or not, we did have a decent run. Wasn't the best. Could have been better. Could have been 150,000, 170,000, 200,000. The price of Bitcoin at its peak. But whatever happened October 10, I don't know. Are we going to continuously blame that? I said that day will stay in the history books forever, because a liquidation event like that has never really happened before. Yeah, today was also pretty bad in these past, I guess, the whole 4 months. Look how long I've been buying into it. I'm out of money now. I'm fully in it. And if this continues going lower, and if we hit 50,000 or 53, 54,000, like, I'm out. I don't know what else to do. Like, that's all the rest of the money that I had. Which, who knows? Arguably, it would have been better off just being held on spot. If I was still holding this amount of money on spot, my average price would still be at 109,000, which, yeah, no, forget that. I'd rather have, okay, what would you rather have? No risk, but it's such a high average entry price at 109,000. You'd probably win in the long run, right? Compared to what I have in display in front of you right now, an average price of 80,000, which is pretty good. But then, you know, the price of losing it all and getting liquidated at 53, 54,000, I would rise that up with the fees, whatever fees get charged. Eventually, my break-even price will rise. Sorry, not my break-even, my liquidation price. I honestly don't think this is going to happen, but I'm currently being surprised as we're looking at the charts, so I do not even know what to expect from here. 60,000 seems normal to me, okay? It makes sense. It's 60,000. It's a level that we've always been using since 2024. I don't think we've seen 60,000 at all in 2025. So if this is a bear market, this has to be the bottom. Like, and I think we've like overstayed our welcome with this kind of bottom by even crossing the 66,000 level. So from this point, yeah, this whole thing is unexpected. I'm not going to expect it to drop it even more. But if it does have to, let it do its thing. We were supposed to get non-farm payroll data tomorrow. That's just being delayed. It's all a mess. Donald has to do something to save the crypto market. Everybody is crying to Trump, please do something. You said you were going to make crypto great again. We're not tired of winning. We haven't even, okay, we did kind of win. We all kind of won. You know, before October 10, we were all pretty much winning. I was winning, you know? Until eventually, no. Until, you know, Trump gives and Trump takes away. So it is what it is. Maybe he'll give us back eventually. He's going to want some votes for the midterm elections. I'll talk more about Trump later. But yeah, this is the way things are. Altcoins, let's, do we even want to look at those anymore? Like, we already know that everything's down 14, 15, 12, 17%. Only Hyperliquid is up, of course. The only place where the volume is being volumed, where the fees are getting charged, those are the guys who are, you know, staying alive, staying above water. So yeah, we'll be looking into all that. I can't even realize how terrible all of this is. 10% down for Ethereum. Yeah, this might as well just move on. Lowest point for it, I'm still estimating, you know, even if Bitcoin continues to like underperform, if we lose 60,000, it's all over. It's all actually over. I think everything is already over, but it's going to be even more over. How over can it get when we are indeed in a bear market? I think everybody's safe to admit, yes, we are in a bear market. You know, this is not bullish. None of this is. So where's the bottom? That's where what everybody is asking. I think we've all been liquidated at this point. Surely nobody survived this type of volatility, even at the safest amount of leverage, 2x leverage. I'm kind of holding in there, but like barely at this point. Only 10k from getting liquidated, and I mean, we've been dropping 30k ever since 90k, right? Great, I'm mixing up my words here, but you know what I'm saying. Oops, I almost spilled my tea. I'm gonna drink some tea. You know what I'm happy about? No work tomorrow. I like it. I am starting to enjoy the 1 day break in the middle of the week. Well, not in the middle. It's on a Friday, but you know, I enjoy it. I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow of getting caught up on a lot of stuff personally, and not having to wake up at 7 a.m. Although I probably still will, because my natural biological clock is used to it for literally every other day of the week, except on a Sunday. Yeah, whatever. Moving on. Why am I even talking about this? Let's go lament over these other altcoins. Lovely. Same deal here. I'm not going to talk about resistances at all. Just focus on finding a bottom for these. Ethereum, I think 1,500, 600, whatever has to be hit, anything around here. One of these two uptrend or exclusive uptrend lines that we have drawn from ages ago. Surely these are difficult to break out of, right? I mean, we kind of thought that when we had this one drawn back in 2024. Remember this? We still broke down below this on March 2025 when Bitcoin hit. Bitcoin was at 74,000 and we were lower on Ethereum. That's probably a good sign. That's probably a good sign, right? Now that Bitcoin is even lower than its April 7 low of last year, Bitcoin was only at 74,000, while Ethereum was at 1,400, 1,300, ultimately its lowest. Today, you know, Bitcoin is much lower than that. We're at 64,000, and Ethereum is still 1,800. Might still have some room to drop, though, if Bitcoin continues to underperform, like I said, so that's the low I'd expect for Ethereum. Blowing chunks, welcome. I know we're all suffering, dude. Your price range is 55 to 35,000, focusing on the 200-week moving average. That has been a great indicator for Bitcoin bear markets in the past. When would be surprised to see below the 200-week moving average? I have heard about that talk as well. And the weekly chart you're saying, right? Or was it daily? I think it's weekly. I'm going to get a moving average in just MA, right? Look at this. And also what kind of it? Simple, yeah. Smoothing length. Nope. Length. 200. That's looking at 58,000 right now. What the? Is it even this one? Yeah, it is the 200 week. Okay. 35,000 though, I think that's a little too bearish. I think that's too bearish. I'd agree with something 50,000. I would agree with maybe the 200 moving average if that is to be the case. If it is the case, I'd still be safe in my position. We'll see though. Another thing that people have been looking at, I guess, would be Fibonacci retracements ever since this low. Might as well look at this in the weekly chart. So from our absolute low to our all-time high, let me draw that here. That kind of converges with 58,000. Maybe 58,000 is it? You got to zoom out to all time to see the bigger picture. Yeah. I guess, but like, I mean, this drop is a little too hard for now. There's got to be some sort of a pause, a dead cat bounce, similar to what we've seen over here. I think that's too bearish. And if it was to continue dropping, I'd see maybe 40,000. Psychologically, Fibonacci. That's kind of what I see for it. But hey, at this point, like, it's really difficult because when things are in free fall, yeah, it's going to get a little too crazy on trying to predict where the bottom is going to be. Because literally, it could be anywhere. I mean, we saw Solana at $9 in 2023. You remember this? $8 low? 2022 and 23, yeah. So, literally anything's possible. What is this? Why is this just a straight line down? What? I think it's literally this line. That's so funny. We're at 67 with Solana, lowest point. Current price is 77. Where is the floor? 67 Solana. Dude, that is so low. Yeah, I gotta do something with my Solana. I think I'm better off holding on some darn meme coin on Pump Fun rather than holding like the actual Solana token. It's getting that crazy. Hi Justin Verse, welcome. Dude, oh my gosh, what do we even do with this? Good news is Hyperliquid is at least holding okay. Still in its uptrend, holding strong, $35.44. That's lovely. It's taken advantage of the volume, the demise of the rest of these other altcoins. But hey, props to them. They figured it out. They figured out the fee structure for this. The revenue, right? The buybacks. They're doing fine. Hyperliquid is okay. Does that mean buy now? Probably not. I expect maybe the sentiment will eventually catch on to Hyperliquid because at the end of the day, it is just another altcoin. Although it does serve good utility, but, you know, you got to be careful with it still. So that's kind of what I'd caution against. Sui, oh my gosh, 78. We might as well just hit the 50 cents that we saw on October 10. Just reveal your true identity, where you deserve to be, at 50 cents, Sui. I have a post from Sui founder himself, so we'll be talking about that later. Dude, is it even worth looking at these anymore? Not right now, I guess. There's the chain link that I wanted, $8. I'm not buying, I'm sorry. It's, first of all, I'm out of money. Second of all, if I would buy, it'll only be Bitcoin at this point. I feel like it's the one that could drop the least. The one that could drop the least. And the one that will rise first. Nothing else will rise if Bitcoin does not rise first. 35,000 is the bottom of your range. Keep in mind it's dropped this bad with no recession, no MicroStrategy bankruptcy, no Trump pro-crypto administration pivot, nothing. Same catalyst will push us below 40,000. Some catalysts. Okay. Well, we'll keep track of it for sure. I'll definitely keep note of that. 35,000. We'll see, man. We will see. I still think that's too bearish. I could maybe see like actually terrible, worst case scenario 40,000. Currently, local support 58,000 makes sense. 60,000 for now, of course, psychologically, but then what are we going to do? I missed the 66,000 point, like, honestly. What even... It just decided to completely break below it. So, who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe the cycle is indeed different. We're doing something new with this cycle. Like, a lot of stuff is changing. So it's hard to predict it based off of previous moves anymore, right? And I kind of had a feeling about that with the way the cycle has been evolving throughout. Things didn't seem to play out the same way they have in the past. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that means I just realized my Polymarket position is absolutely gone. I've been liquidated on Polymarket then. 1 cent. Let's go. That's how we roll, guys. We mess up on prediction markets too. I shouldn't have double down on my position. I should have just hedged against it, right? Like voted in favor of Bitcoin, yes, hitting 65,000. So if I was wrong in one sense, I could use that money from being right in the other sense to pay for whatever was wrong, whichever way it went. So yeah. Yeah, dude. This is worse than the FTX crash, COVID crash for literally no reason. I know, man. Everybody's upset about this. We're all complaining to the big boss, to Trump. Hey, man, what happened to the cryptos? Please fix. Lowest we hit for Chainlink, by the way, $7.13. That is a new low. That is a new low as well. Yep. We haven't seen these prices since 2023. So make of that what you will. Seems like everything is just indeed accepting its fate, entering a bear market. Altcoins are going back to their 2023, 22 lows, even worse than that in some other cases. So it's rough. It's rough for everyone. That's why I'm staying out of alts for now, sticking with Bitcoin. Anything between 55 to 35K would be great buy targets. I would agree, of course. I'm still buying, even like any paycheck that I do get, I'm not paying back my loans. I'm buying Bitcoin with it. Until eventually those positions turn green. I'm still going to hold on to that Bitcoin and then, you know, eventually pay off as time goes. Also through Bitcoin ETFs, perhaps, the ones that pay dividends. I'm sticking with those as well, trying to buy as much as if I can. Yeah, so that's my plan with it. 35K is not the base case. That would be the worst case in your opinion. Yeah, okay, I could understand that. Makes sense. Let's hope that obviously does not happen because it would be terrible. But yeah. Alts are nearly at all-time lows. Bear has just started. It does seem that case. Honestly, like, I don't know what I'm doing because like this should have been my mentality many months ago. When Bitcoin first initially crossed below the 97,000 that I had seen at this point, 96, 97, on November 3rd. Yeah, we kind of bounced above it a little bit, but we were like basically there. And I said, you know what? From that point onward, we cannot be long anymore. And I disobeyed my own orders. I didn't want to get liquidated. I ended up getting liquidated. Other altcoins, of course, if Bitcoin is in a downtrend in a weekly chart, this is confirmation of a bear market starting. And this is only part of the process where we are right now. So deserved? I don't know. Should have seen this coming, honestly. And we did, honestly, but we just ignore the signals. The signals were there. And I said, yeah, if it does break 97,000, I give you full permission to go short, go crazy, do whatever you want with it. It'll be difficult to go longs, but I still disobeyed my own orders, got a little too greedy with it. Didn't get the dead cap bounce that we really wanted. I mean, it kind of worked out. We hit 98,000 at our best. That was 3 weeks ago. Can you believe that? Wow. It's been down only for a while. So yeah, something's off. Moving on. Okay, BitTensor. October 10 lows, let's go. 162, wow. Never thought we'd see these prices. Remember this thing at 700? 500? 300 we were struggling to break. Well, there we go. Literally, this chart does not have enough history to show where the low point is on this chart for BitTensor. Let me find another chart. Like, where's actual lows on... Oh my god, this looks terrible. On BitTensor, Towel, USD, Coinbase. Surely Coinbase has history. No, it does not. It goes back to February 2025. BitTensor's existed longer than that. I didn't mean to click that. Binance. Here we go. It does not look any better, does it? We have these lows, I guess. 166 as well. 163. We're at literally that same point. Yeah, 160, 169, whatever this is. October 10 bottom was at 140, allegedly. Every chart is different. Current low that we hit was 143. That's where we are right now. It's basically the same chart as over here. Fair enough. Doesn't have that much history. Yep. A lot of these, I mean, on paper, seem like really good buying opportunities, but they're also so risky to get into right now because it's just like they can just go infinitely lower at this point, is what it feels like at least. We got to at least get confirmation of no more downtrend in the weekly charts, which the longer we stay down here, the more we accumulate, the stronger we'll be able to rise, the more the super trend will continue going lower. And the sooner we flip it, that's when we enter. So obviously this is a temporary thing, might last a month or two. I would expect until maybe Kevin Warsh himself steps into power, kicks Powell out of the federal chair, the Fed chair, and proves to us that he will indeed cut rates as Trump wants. Maybe that would be part of it. Responsibly, of course. Aptos, we're not even going to look at this. 90 cents low, $1.02 right now. Monero, well, there we go. We were at 800 for like a week, if that. Here we are at 296, sub 300. Hit a low of 276 on Monero. It's like nobody wants to buy any of these anymore. So, whatever. I think we're all sticking with Bitcoin if we even have any money left. So that is what I will do. Stick with Bitcoin. Sorry, no money to afford alts right now. Maybe if I suffer a bit more through work. Hey, at least I was blessed with a job on time. What would I do without a job right now? But the job kind of sucks. I don't want to be ingrateful, but I mean, come on. My job kind of sucks. But anyway, whatever. What do we have to say about the news? Let's go. Let's get into it. So, it seems like we had this notice from the special envoy of Iran about talks in Oman. People were fearing that, oh, the talks, the Iranian talks between the United States and Iran, they're collapsing. The peace talks. I said the Iranian talks. But it seems like no, it was fake news, and they will still meet in Oman to discuss some kind of a deal. Diplomacy is always Prez's first option. And the talks are supposed to happen tomorrow. Well, technically it is. What time is it over there? What time is it in... Bro, where are they again? Oman? It's 6:38 a.m. From what I read, my sources tell me, my very correct and competent sources tell me, is that the talks would be at 10 a.m. at their time. So that means the peace talks will start in about 3.5 hours. So we'll see what comes of that. And, oh, it's literally right here. Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi and his team touched down in Oman for nuclear talks with the United States. The meeting is expected to kick off at 10 a.m. local time. The focus of the talks will be solely on nuclear issues. They do not want to talk about military or none of the other stuff. Lovely. That's kind of not what we wanted, but fair enough. We'll take what we can get. Am I right? Okay, well, there you go. U.S. Embassy tells citizens to leave Iran now. Increased security measures, road closures, public transportation disruptions, internet blockages are ongoing. Government of Iran continues to restrict access to mobile, landline, and national internet networks. Blah, blah, blah. Leave Iran now. Okay. I mean, you kind of did that last month. No one really cared. So why should people care this time around? Oh yeah, we're also, isn't there like a Super Bowl or something that's happening this weekend? I do not follow sports at all. So yeah, anyways, that's Iran for you. Here is the GOP taking a stab at Kamala Harris's announcement, which is pretty funny. It seems like the GOP will announce something tomorrow as well. We covered this news yesterday where Kamala Harris released a video in this way, saying Kamala Harris way too online. I think this is just a joke. I don't know if they'll actually announce something tomorrow. Okay. So what did Kamala Harris actually announce? What was the big announcement? Nothing really, honestly. She created the headquarters Kamala HQ account, but the @handle for headquarters was already taken, or Elon Musk didn't want to give it to her. So they changed their handle to headquarters 67. And it's to appeal to the youths. Welcome to headquarters, a new Gen Z-led progressive content hub. So it's basically a social media page for left-wing brain rot for kids. Enjoy that, I guess. And it will all be masterminded by Kamala Harris. Great. This is why she's the GOAT. No other politician comes close to this level of cringe. Yes, let's go. Even CNN called her cringe. So that's how you know you're doing something great. Can we look this up? Headquarters. Surely it's like the first thing that pops up. Headquarters 67. Oh my. Here it is. I'm already following it somehow. I do not consent. I'm pretty sure this was literally just Kamala HQ before, and it just rebranded. So here she is. Welcome to headquarters, the new Gen Z-led progressive content hub. Thank you. They're just basically posting, memeing on Trump. Your boss's actual headquarters, so I guess Trump and the Epstein Island. Haha, very funny. Got it. Okay, so can I unfollow this? I mean, I don't want like left-wing political memes on my account. I like right-wing political memes because they're actually funny. The left-wing ones, I don't know. I rarely laugh because they're just not good. I'm sorry, but maybe I don't know. I'm willing to be surprised in a good way. So we'll see what specialties they come up with. But for now, I'm gonna stay skeptical with that. Anyways, Trump is talking about, what is he even talking about? The military. The United States is the most powerful country in the world. I completely rebuilt its military in my first term, including new and many refurbished nuclear weapons, also added the Space Force, and now continue to rebuild our military at levels never seen before. We're even adding battleships, which are 100 times more powerful than the ones that roamed the seas during World War II. Yeah, they should be. Anyways, the Iowa, Missouri, Alabama, and others. I've stopped nuclear wars from breaking out across the world between Pakistan, India, Iran, Israel, Russia, Ukraine. Rather than extend New START, a badly negotiated deal by the United States that, aside from everything else, is being grossly violated, we should have our nuclear experts work on a new, improved, and modernized treaty that can last long into the future. Thanks. Okay, let's just hope that you continue to stop a nuclear war and fix this Iran thing as well. Please and thank you. What does Congress think about Canada here? Apparently this was talked about with Scott Bessent. They were discussing, hey, if Canada drops all the tariffs on the United States to 0%, will we do the same? It seems like the answer is still no, so Canada's screwed either way. Why? Because Mark Carney slashed the EV tariffs on China from 100% to 6%, which turns Canada into a dumping ground for Beijing, basically meaning that we will be getting a lot of electric vehicles flooded into the country, and Trump does not like that. So despite whatever we do with the United States, seems like the relationship is permanently damaged. Lovely. And here, of course, Mark Carney is just doubling down on it all. Hey guys, look at the new electric vehicles that we're importing. I mean, they do kind of look okay. But anyway, can they withstand a good winter? I hope they do. It will unlock massive new opportunities for the Canadian auto industry and Canadian workers. I'm pretty sure Doug Ford disagrees, but hey, sure. Okay, what am I even looking at? This is why RAM costs have gone through the roof. So I also want to talk about Spain. I didn't even title it, I'm sorry. The Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, came up with a statement that apparently Elon Musk does not really like, and I don't understand why, so we're going to review it. So he says, starting next week, my government will implement the following actions. First, we will change the law in Spain to hold platform executives legally accountable for many infringements taking place on their sites. Second, we will turn algorithmic manipulation and amplification of illegal content into a new criminal offense. Algorithmic manipulation. Yeah, rest in peace, Elon. Third, we will implement a hate and polarization footprint system to track, quantify, and expose how digital platforms fuel division and amplify hate. Basically all this censorship, I guess. Control of what you see that's what it's going to be. People don't want that. Fourth, Spain will ban access to social media for minors under the age of 16. Kind of like what Australia did, I guess. Platforms will be required to implement effective age verification systems, not just checkboxes, but real barriers that work. What is the barriers? I mean, surely you can just get around any of these social media age restrictions, right? Unless you have to upload your government ID, and then even still. All right, anyway. Fifth and last, my government will work with our public prosecutor to investigate and pursue the infringement committed by Grok, TikTok, and Instagram. What infringement? What is he talking about? So Elon Musk says Sanchez is the true fascist totalitarian. He just declared open war on the internet under the guise of safety and accountability. His government is launching a full-scale assault on free speech, specifically targeting platforms that refuse to bend the knee to state-approved narratives. I'm not reading all of this, but it's basically a repeat of what I just talked about, and that is what Elon Musk is against. He's saying that this is also a political attack. It's not just in Spain, but also in Paris. Paris, apparently, the French judicial authorities raided X's Paris office today. Not today. 2 days ago, February 3rd. It was in connection with a politicized criminal investigation into alleged manipulation of algorithms and purported fraudulent data extraction. We're disappointed by this development, but we are not surprised. Okay, Paris prosecutor's office widely publicized the raid, making clear that today's action was an abusive act of law enforcement theater designed to achieve illegitimate political objectives rather than advance legitimate law enforcement goals rooted in the fair and impartial administration of justice. And the rest of it is in French, and I don't think I have to read all this. Okay, cool, great. Your office got raided. It's like the whole European Union is against the poor Elon Musk at this point. Hey, this is cool. Yeah. Well, good luck, I guess. The only based one is Hungary. Highly respected Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, is a truly strong and powerful leader with a proven track record of delivering phenomenal results. Trump is just glazing him, I guess, here. La 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 la. Tell me something important. I look forward to continuing working closely with him so that both our countries can further advance this tremendous path to success and cooperation. I was proud to endorse him for his re-election in 2022. I'm honored to do so again. Great. So I guess we love Hungary now. Great. Moving on. This other stuff might also be causing fear. Is heavy regulation is about to hit Brazil. And Brazil, they do have a lot of volume when it comes to stablecoins. Apparently 90% of crypto activity is in stablecoins in Brazil. They're moving to ban algorithmic stablecoins and require full asset backing for all domestic issuers. Sure, that is okay. Agreed. But this would also... A new bill is being introduced that would penalize unbacked minting and push algorithmic projects out. I think there was more to it. I might have to find it in another post. Something about Brazil. They will ban algorithmic stablecoins and require 100% proof of reserves. Yeah, that's old news. That's old news. Yeah, that's basically part of it. And then we have also Gemini will stop its operations in the UK. Major crypto exchange no longer allowed in the UK. All customer accounts will be placed in withdrawal-only mode starting March 5th, 2026. In addition, the UK, Gemini will also cease operations in the EU and Australia. Why? Oh, well, Grok didn't even reply. Come on. It seems like too much regulation at this point, and I'm honestly kind of feeling it. Again, I talked about the story about Wealthsimple. They're literally asking for, like, face verification. They want me to take a picture of the QR code that I sent crypto to last year. Does it belong to me? Do you know what you're doing? Are you aware of the crypto scams? Make sure you're not withdrawing to the wrong address. Like, yes, I know. This is my crypto. Let me do what I want to do with it. So I think it might just get worse, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of crypto. Another thing about the Brazil thing is that, like, they were going to release their own digital, whatever dollar they use, their own digital currency, tokenized currency, right? That would basically defeat the purpose of why stablecoins are used. And that whole regulation is to kind of push out USDC or USDT
out of the Brazilian market, I guess. A lot of other countries are getting a little too heavy with the regulation as well, to the point where cryptocurrency is not even what it was meant to be, right? Private, permissionless. It seems like everybody wants to know, hey, you sent Bitcoin to this address. Whose was it? Was it yours? Is this also yours? I mean, come on. Use some blockchain analysis tool. Everything is public on the blockchain. It just makes me want to switch over to Monero now. But then even still they will not allow you to trade Monero on centralized exchanges. They know they're ahead of the game here. And you better comply with their rules if you want people to actually use the exchange in your country. So it's a big mess. I guess I could blame part of that reason why a lot of altcoins are also suffering. They seem like they have no utility at this point because of all this regulation. But I mean, this has been coming on for a while now. I don't know. There's probably more to it than I'm aware of. Trump had some form of announcement today. Trump announces that on May 17, why that far ahead? We will rededicate America as one nation under God on the National Mall. Okay, great. Christian nation. You can't have a great country without religion. On May 17th, we are inviting Americans from all across the country to come together to our national mall to pray and give thanks. We're going to dedicate America as one nation under God. Great. Thank you. Finally. Moving on. They also posted this. This is an image from the White House. They said, for the first time in 5 years, a majority of Americans say their personal finances are improving. This is just the beginning of the Trump economic boom. Just the beginning, guys. We're heading so much lower, dude. So apparently the White House posted that and then deleted it like 1 hour later, which is odd. Seems like they regret posting that, I guess. The amount of backlash that they're getting. Like, guys, look at the Bitcoin prices. Come on. It's not just Bitcoin, too, by the way. There's other stocks that are not doing well, especially the technological ones. Those have been suffering as well. So we had job openings data as well that came out today. They were a complete disaster. An example of macro data that looks bad. Let's see. We were estimating 7.2 million job openings. We actually got 6.542 million. So less than expected. And it's also worse than what it was before. So we're not meeting our expectations to the slightest, nor improving. Trending is extreme fear. Why is extreme fear? Oh, there we go. So the crypto fear and greed index sentiment, it's at, this is an all-time low. This is number 5, extreme fear. What do we do at these prices? Do we stay fearful about it? Do we buy? You buy, I guess. 9, 11, 5, 11, 12. Yeah, these are very low points for fear and greed index. I didn't mean to go away from this post. So why are we so fearful? There's talks about a recession again happening, which we did discuss last year. I was expecting, well, last year I was expecting the end of Q4 2025 to be ultra bullish, Bitcoin 170,000 or something like that, and then, our alt season to carry on right after. And then 2026, I was expecting a bear market if the 4-year cycle was to play out. It seems like it kind of did, but in a weird way because of October 10. And the reason why we would have a bear market in 2026, I said, was due to some lame excuse like a recession. And here it is. The talks about a recession are already starting back up again. Markets are already reacting to fear of a recession. So right now, stocks and crypto are both falling sharply. Many people think this dump has no clear reason. But if you look at the economic data coming out of the US, the weakness is becoming very visible. And that is what the markets are pricing in. So the first signal is the job market is cracking. Cracking, really? In the latest data, more than 100,000 job cuts were recorded in January alone. This is the highest level of layoffs in January since 2009, the same period when the US economy was in recession. At the same time, we had JOLTS job openings that came in much lower than expected. New job openings are now at their lowest level since 2023, which we just looked at. This means companies, they're not hiring, and they're instead cutting jobs. a clear sign that business conditions are weakening. When hiring slows and layoffs rise together, consumer spending usually falls as well, which is bad for the companies, the businesses. They don't make the revenue that they expect. They miss their expectations, right? The second signal, stress in the tech credit market. A large portion of tech loans and bonds are now distressed. Tech loan distress ratio is about 14.5%, highest since 2022 bear market. The tech bond distress ratio is near 9.5%, the highest since Q4 of 2023. This means that many tech companies are struggling to service debt. When companies face debt issues, they cut costs, freeze hiring, and reduce spending, which slows the overall economy further. The third signal is the housing market. The demand is collapsing. Home sellers in the US have now outnumbered buyers by about 530,000, the biggest gap ever recorded. This shows demand is weak. Hold on, let me process this information. Shouldn't that drop house prices? I think it is. Right? Isn't that a good thing? Anyways, houses is one of the largest parts of the economy. When housing slows, it affects construction, banks, lending, and consumer confidence, all recession-linked sectors. The fourth signal is the Fed is not easing yet. When are they going to do that? Despite economic weakness, the Fed is still maintaining a hawkish stance. They're not cutting rates. They're paused. And near-term cuts look unlikely. Like we've seen in the other next two FOMC meetings, seems like we will still be holding rates. First time we'll be cutting will be once Kevin Warsh takes power, and the first cut will be in whatever it was, June. The next FOMC meeting for him. So, this means liquidity is not increasing, which I was hoping it would for this year, to kind of make Bitcoin, rise and everything, but it's not. It makes economic stress worse instead of better. The fifth signal is the bond market. It's flashing recession warnings. Great, classic. The 2-year versus 10-year yield spread has moved to its highest level in 4 years, a move known as bear steepening. Historically, this shift has happened before recessions. When you connect all the dots, the picture becomes clear. So if you didn't pay attention to anything I said, this is it. Job cuts are rising, hiring is failing, corporate debt stress is increasing, housing demand is weakening, Fed is staying hawkish, and bond market signaling recession. So they're not dumping without a reason. Markets, they're reacting to growing signs that the US economy is slowing down and may be moving toward a recession phase. Come on, Trump, do something for this. Fix it. Fix the economy, and we'll all be great. This is what I was referring to. Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock hits its highest record trading volume ever. Except that the volume is toward the downside, but that's okay. What else we got? As Bitcoin fell below 70,000, way below that, Michael Saylor's strategy holdings of 713,000 Bitcoins are now facing an unrealized loss of $4 billion. What, you think you have it rough? This guy's losing $4 billion in unrealized losses. And Tom Lee's Bitmine, with 4 million Ethereum, they're facing an unrealized loss of 7.52 billion. How do you manage to lose harder than Michael Saylor? I mean, you're in Ethereum, so at a higher price too, maybe deserved. Who knows? Hey, Pika Pooch, welcome. Yeah, I did see your comment about that. I was gonna address it in the stream. My next target low seems to be, from what I analyzed, 58,000, 57, 58, around here. And I mean, we did hold 60,000 level pretty good, so that's the next support level that the current one that I'm basically looking for right now. But we've also been discussing other options. Maybe 40,000 could be one. And then Blow and Chunks was suggesting 35,000 as like ultimate worst case scenario. I really don't think we're going to go like way too low. It seems like this drop is a little too exaggerated, even right now. So I'm hoping for at least a relief bounce for now, if the bottom is 60,000. Because this is honestly a cycle breaking move, the fact that we broke below 66,000, which is just insane. So what do we even expect at this point? It's unpredictable now. And ETH still at 1500? Yeah, 15 to 1600 I still predict for Ethereum. That's based off of the uptrend lines that I had over here drawn. But ultimately anything can happen if Bitcoin continues to go lower. Ethereum won't do any better. So yeah, just keep that in mind. At least it's been holding decently well. I showed the divergence of how Ethereum was at these prices last year. On April 7 crash, Ethereum dropped to 1,384 as its ultimate lowest. Bitcoin's price was 74,000 at the time. Right now, Bitcoin is a whole 10,000 lower than that. We're at 64,000, but Ethereum is not that low. Just goes to show a bit of a divergence there, right? We're at 1,900, whereas if Bitcoin was at 64,000 last year, Ethereum should be much lower, probably 1,000. But it's not going that low, so it's holding decently well. Seems like some of the altcoins, no, I shouldn't even say some of them. A lot of them are suffering, of course, but Ethereum, one of the main ones, it's still kind of keeping that intact. What is this? Oh, cool. You got notifications here now. So yeah, that's what I see, man. A relief bounce to wherever the downtrend for the super trend line is, which in this case, it's looking like 77,000 maximum. And this is subject to change, of course. If Bitcoin just continues lower or flat lines around here, this could start dropping a little bit more. And yeah, Ethereum is doing well. Yeah, I've noticed that too. So yeah. But hey, these guys are also going through it. Tom Lee, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. I always mix up the names. Why is your name the same as your company name? Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy. You see, I said it again. I said MicroStrategy. So yeah, it's rough out there for everyone. We're all struggling. They also had earnings today. Michael Saylor. I keep mixing up the name. Apparently, I obviously know that they did not do well with their earnings. Obviously. Earnings per share must be catastrophic. I mean, I think it explains it in the post. Here's the bad earnings. Earnings per share, down 42.93. That is crazy. That is a crazy low point. Revenue surprisingly up, barely. Yeah, we're making new bottoms. 100. We had 100 on MicroStrategy. Yeah. So $100 MicroStrategy is the 60,000 equivalent for Bitcoin is what I see from that. Yeah, that sucks. We were only estimating a loss of $20 per share. We hit 42. We doubled that. At least we slightly beat revenue. Very barely, though. MicroStrategy collapses below 110,000 as Bitcoin continues to fall. Below 65,000. Old news, but sure. I don't know how anyone could fall for Michael Saylor's convertible debt scam twice. Oh, wow. What do you mean, scam? They committed accounting fraud in the year 2000. Oh, really? Well, that's not good. I guess we're digging up old receipts now. Can we still trust Michael Saylor? I still do. I think he's fine. His autism will save us. We'll see. Okay. You know who actually predicted this drop, though? The guy from FundStrat. The head of digital asset strategy, Sean M. Farrell. Props to this guy. He actually predicted what is happening right now. When did he post this? Do we know? I don't think we know. That is so bright. So he says, despite my view that Bitcoin and crypto face powerful long-term tailwinds and that liquidity-driven support should emerge in 2026, that's what I was hoping for too, there are several risks that we need to clear in the first quarter or second quarter that could create more attractive entry points. Well, so far the guy's right. My base case is a meaningful drawdown in the first half of 2026. Seems like we're having it right now. Bitcoin would fall to 60 to 65,000. Hey, if that's the case, bottom is in. Get this out of here. Ethereum would drop to 1,800 to 2,000. That's literally where it just dropped to. Ethereum's low was 1,741. Sure, close enough. And Solana, $50 to $75. We're at 76 right now. We dropped a low of 67. 67. He posted late last year. Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, he made back in December. It literally says there. I'm blind. Yeah. Crazy good prediction. Congrats, I guess. These levels will present attractive opportunities into year end. If this view proves correct, I still prefer to play defense and wait for confirmation of strength. That is another thing to do, right? Obviously, we don't know. Nobody knows where the exact bottom is going to be. Best thing to do is just let the markets fall where they have to fall. And once you see confirmation of downtrends breaking, time passing by, accumulation phase, all of that, then that's when you enter. The strength is coming back and you know that it's likely not going to crash further lower, right? Me, I'm just doing it a little bit too risky because I'm trying to find the best possible price. And where has that landed me? At my average price of Bitcoin at 80,000. Now, let's just say in a hypothetical case, if I didn't buy this whole time, if I still had my 10K right here ready to buy, and I'm just watching you guys suffer through this whole drop, if Bitcoin eventually like rose up to here and broke this super trend and started flipping its trend upward again, where would I have entered? I probably would have entered right here at 80,000 or anything above 77,000, right? If we did get confirmation of this trend flipping over in our favor in an uptrend. So it's about the same, just with a bit more risk, because now I have a risk of liquidation. Whereas if I was not entering at all and I was just watching prices free fall, then I wouldn't have obviously no risk of liquidation because I'm not even in the price. I'm not even in a position, right? So that's just another way to play the game. So enjoy. Do what you can with that. Bitcoin hit a historic extreme. RSI on Coinbase is now the third lowest it's ever been. That is also true. RSI levels are crazy low. Only two moments were lower, the 2018 bear market bottom and the March 2020 COVID crash. Doesn't mean that the price will flip overnight, but historically this Bitcoin level only shows up when fear is high, leverage is gone, and most people have already given up. Maybe these are the key things that we need to confirm a trend reversal, because it's always like, oh, there's way too much not liquidations, there's way too much leverage in these markets, and you know, leveraged markets are ruining crypto's price action. We would be at such a higher price if it was spot only for everybody, if it was spot buying for everyone. Which, yeah, maybe you're right, because I mean, October 10 wouldn't have happened if there was no leverage, right? But obviously you're noticing that everybody is over leveraged. Everybody is trying to recover whatever they lost, and people will just throw max longs and end up getting liquidated. Where are like so much money just getting liquidated from all these people? So yeah. Another thing is the electrical cost of mining. Bitcoin fell below that estimated electrical cost of mining, which is currently around 71,000, with total mining costs estimated at 87 to 96,000. So minor capitulation narrative again. Basically this, right? Miners will stop mining Bitcoin. It becomes more scarce. And I mean, obviously if they're not mining Bitcoin, you have to cover for electrical costs when you do mine Bitcoin. So what you have to do is you have to sell it to cover for electrical costs. And that sell pressure is kind of always there. That's the thing with mining, right? You're minting new coins and then you're selling them to the open market to cover for your own electrical costs, right? Because that's how Bitcoin's currency runs. It's based off electricity costs. So yeah. Moving on. Grant Cardone is still buying. They added more Bitcoin at 67,000. We are cash flow positive on our real estate and expect to hold both real estate and Bitcoin for long periods of time. Good. We have no debt on the Bitcoin. Good as well. And a 5-year fixed debt on the real estate. Okay. Good. Good stuff. Sad story. A whale has been longing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Zcash. Bad choice. Poor Zcash. Since January 2026. Bad time to enter too. Today he got fully liquidated, lost $16 million. Now has only $2,000 left in his account. Hey, give it to me, I'll double it in a month. Trump's World Liberty Financial, they're also selling wrapped Bitcoin. They sold at an average price of 69,000. Why are you selling now? What are you doing? basically 73 Bitcoins, $5 million. So the sell pressure there. The sell pressure from Vitalik himself as well. The guy's selling thousands of dollars worth of Ethereum. He's not stopping. Literally, it says 20 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. Not as of right now, but like as of 11 a.m. So the guy's still selling. We have some more stuff about Vitalik Buterin.
he is, I guess, talking bad about Trump. On February 3rd, Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin said in a conversation with peer-to-peer Foundation founder Michael Baldwins at the 2026 Ethereum Chiang Mai Future Summit that 2025 was a very difficult year. Yeah, no kidding. Vitalik noted that the Trump meme coin, which was theoretically the king of coins, ultimately crashed 95%, becoming a complete failure. This has led the industry to rethink what role cryptocurrency plays in the world. Facing the rise of AI, SpaceX's Starship, and biotechnology, Vitalik believes that if crypto relies only on being cool high tech, it will face strong competition and must instead represent social and even political issues. He emphasized that the industry should explore a model of modernity that does not concentrate power in a few tech hubs amid growing distrust. Okay, pal, relax. And he also responded to the controversy of L2s are useless that we talked about before. So he said this. I've been following reactions to what I said about the L2s about 1.5 days ago. One important thing that I believe is yet another EVM chain and add an optimistic bridge to Ethereum with a 1-week delay is to infra what forking compound is to govern it. What am I even reading? Something we've done far too much for far too long because we got comfortable and which has sapped our imagination, has put us in a dead end. Grok, summarize this, please. If you make an EVM chain without an optimistic bridge to Ethereum, so another alt L1, that's even worse. We don't friggin' need more copy pasta EVM chains. That's true. There's a lot of the same type of projects, right? Yet another L1, yet another L2. Which one is going to be the best? Is it even better than the ones that already exist? There's all these promises that they will be, but then we just never see it in action, right? I'll just read the summary. Here's the whole post if you truly care about it. Vitalik critiques the proliferation of generic EVM chains and alt L1s, arguing that they stifle innovation, like repeated compound forks, and predicts Ethereum's L1 scaling will suffice for most EVM needs while urging novel features like privacy or low latency execution. Yeah, that is basically, I agree with that. Innovate, do something more with it, right? Don't just do another copy paste. Like Ethereum already gets the basic stuff ready. Don't try to make it faster or cheaper. Ethereum is good enough at that as an L1. Make it more for low latency execution or privacy. Improve it in that sense. He advocates for app chains with genuine Ethereum ties, such as prediction markets resolved on L1 but traded on specialized L2s, versus looser integrations like Stark proven institutional databases that enhance transparency without full trustlessness. The post emphasizes authenticity and branding. Deeply Ethereum-dependent projects should embrace that identity, while synergistic outsiders should highlight shared goals like trust minimization, prompting ecosystem projects to self-assess their innovations and connections. Okay, relax. Basically, do something that brings something actually new to the table, and vibes should match substance. The degree of connection to Ethereum in your public image should reflect the degree of connection to Ethereum that your thing has in reality. Okay, so there's his response to all of it. And my last post, I guess I'll cover what Evan at Sui said. Yeah, he says, I know it's tough to ignore the screens today. Seeing the market slide like this naturally creates a lot of noise and anxiety, and I'm feeling it too, and I want to acknowledge that it is a lot to process. I lived through many of these cycles. How many? This project's only existed since 2023, unless he's talking about himself, like, I guess from prior cycles and other projects. I've even sent a note very similar to this one during our earliest days. What I've learned is that the best way to quiet the what-ifs is to focus on what we can actually control. The work we're doing in payments, privacy, and building out our ecosystem doesn't lose its value because the chart is red. That work is just as vital today as it was yesterday. Markets always find their footing eventually. Our goal is to make sure that when they do, we're winning position because we didn't let the volatility break our rhythm. We've seen these patterns before. We know how to navigate them. Let's look out for each other and keep moving forward with conviction. We will come out of this stronger just as we have before. Hey, let's hope so. I'll be bookmarking that and I'll hold you accountable to it. So we shall see. That's all the posts I had to talk about today. I guess we'll do some Q&A here. Can you let me know what your thoughts are on BMNU? Is it crazy to mess with it? BMNU, what? I have not heard of that one, I think. Let me see. Okay, so it's a Bitmine leveraged ETF. I'm generally not fond of leveraged ETFs because of their constant, eternal downward movement that they have over time. If you're planning on doing it short term, yes, these will work out really well, only if you do know what you're doing. The only issue with it is that they will be under this perpetual downtrend where they have to do reverse splits every time. Or no, just normal splits, I guess. No, yeah, reverse splits, because they just become infinitely cheaper and cheaper every time. And you can basically notice that by going out into a weekly chart for literally any leveraged ETF. I'll give you an example. I used to trade some for oil and natural gas, right? There was HNU, I remember. I even have it bookmarked. Yeah, sure, it mimics the price of the movement of natural gas, a commodity, right? But it's leveraged. And it's still, you see what I'm saying? The price of this thing being at 3,000, it wasn't actually at 3,000. We had to do reverse split multiple times. And look how infinitely cheap it is. Because that's just what leveraged ETFs do, is that they will always go infinitely smaller and smaller. So holding something like a leveraged ETF, I know it's probably not necessarily an ETF, but anything leveraged exposure to any asset, like it will just go down forever. And I'm not even done here. This is the beginning of time. And I'm already at like $10 million per share over here in 2010. For example, right? I think this was just a 3x leverage ETF or 2x leverage, I think, for natural gas. And it's still going. Like, this is the issue with leveraged ETFs, right? If they work, if they're going in your favor, yeah, they will do amazing, right? But holding them for long term, you kind of get this, and you basically just see a flat line up until today's date. This is the history of this leverage ETF, and that's the fate for all of them ultimately. So can we go back down here? All right. And this is ultimately where we are today with this one. Yeah, short-term natural gas kind of went up a little bit, and we're on our way down, and this will eventually just continue going lower. Obviously, you are not allowed to have negative numbers, so that's why the reverse splits happen. So even if Bitmine runs up quickly to, let's say, 40, would it not make up for losses quicker? I'd have to look at the prices. Let me see. If it runs up to 40, yeah. And in the leverage ETF, like if you are expecting a turnaround, a bounce to happen, yeah, that would kind of make sense. But I would stay out of it still until like an actual confirmed uptrend, right? Because these things could be prolonged for months, staying low, and while you're still stuck in that leverage ETF, maybe it doesn't even reach that high anymore. What used to be 40, like there's this divergence, I don't know how to explain it. If Bitmine rises to, it was at 40 over here, let's just say, right? On November 3rd, 2025, around 40 something, okay? If I go to that other asset, BMNU, what did I say again? November 5. What did I even say? Dude, I'm so... in the 40s. November 10. Yeah, I was close enough. Okay, sorry for my slow brain, but here. So this would have been around $9 for this asset, right? Now, a run up for $40 on Bitmine doesn't mean that this will immediately go up to the $9 itself. Because we're making new lows on it, it'll probably rise to slightly less, right? Let's just say $8. Yes, it will obviously rise because it's going up. So yeah, that decay is always going to be there. So me personally, no, I'm against going into leverage ETFs. I'm out of it for now. From now on, just staying away from those. And the thing is that you do have to time it like actually right, because obviously Bitmine will rise a certain percentage if you do time the bottom perfectly, but this thing of course will give you the greater return because it's 2 times leveraged. So you got to have good timing with it. But at this point, nobody knows where exact bottom is going to be. Maybe the bottom gets prolonged, so I'd rather stay out of it. And then at that point, like, same deal, right? Compared to holding Bitmine or Ethereum, I'd rather just hold the actual Ethereum itself and just leverage my position on Ethereum if I do truly trust in it, right? So that's what I'd say for that. Okay. Assuming you can hold it for a year. Concerned about Clarity Act getting further delayed into spring. Yeah, that's another issue too. Let me see what the odds are right now. Clarity Act signed into law in 2026. Come on, give me a more specific date. No, for 2025. That's crazy. At least, you know, okay, for 2026, 61% chance. We just don't know when exactly. That bill will never pass. Mark my words. Funny. No, surely it has to. Let's hope that it is sooner, though, rather than later. So, yeah. Yeah, that's my opinion on all of it. Sticking with Bitcoin for now. Don't want to touch any other alts. I'm scared. I don't have money, honestly. Like, really? I don't. Wish I had all my hundreds of thousands now to buy. No, they're all gone. They're all gone. Where did they go? Into the hands of shorters. Maybe it's better to just be shorting markets these days. All right. So tomorrow, no non-farm payroll data. I heard there's something contracts options expiry, I think tomorrow, or was that last week already? Usually it's on the Fridays either way. We'll figure out what stuff to talk about on Friday. Let's just hope that the drops do not prolong any further because it's ridiculous at this point. A bounce deserved to happen, but I've been calling for a bounce for a while now. It's ultimately going to have to drop wherever it has to drop to. So, yeah. Eyes on the markets. Bitcoin doesn't produce yield like ETH, though? No, not really. They don't produce too much. Yeah, anyways, you're welcome. Thanks for watching, guys, of course. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you tomorrow then, okay? Have a great rest of your evening. Do not be discouraged, okay? We shall survive. I shall survive. I don't know, man. I'm probably going to get stop hunted. Let's hope that doesn't happen, please. But yeah. All right, guys. I'll see